Okay, good morning. We'll go ahead and start. I know there are still people that's joining, but in the interest of time, we'll go ahead and start. Good morning. My name is Shahira McCoy, and I'm the manager of Export Belize, a unit of BELTRAIDE. I take this opportunity to say good morning and welcome to our Coffee and Confession webinar under the theme SheTrades, Women and Global Trade. Women play a very important role in the economy, even the global economy. Yet women are still underrepresented in international trade. But as in any arena, women are resilient and we continue to carve out space in trade. There are immense opportunities for women in global trade and we must continue to carve out our space in that arena. Today in the Coffee and Confession session, grab your cup of coffee or tea if you prefer, and get ready for a power-packed session. We have an amazing lineup of presenters who will provide you with knowledge, insights, tips, tools, resources, and much more. They will speak of the opportunities and challenges for women in global trade. Today, you will learn more about the SheTrades initiative being led by the International Trade Center, about SheTrades Global, and about the trade stories of Mrs. Marie Sharp and Dr. Dionne Chamberlain Miranda. These treats or confessions will certainly go well with your coffee or tea. I'll now introduce you to the presenters for today. Ms. Pippa McDougall is an international consultant for the SheTrades initiative at the International Trade Center. She works on the establishment and implementation of SheTrades Hub across Africa and Asia. On behalf of ITC, Pippa is also co-leading the Leadership Coalition together with UN Women within the Equal Global Partnership, which aims to bridge the gender digital divide. Prior to joining ITC, Pippa worked for the Government of Canada as a legislative assistant to a member of Parliament. She holds a master's degree in the political economy of emerging markets from King's College, London, UK. Pippa. We can see Ms. Pippa McDougall on the screen. Welcome. Another presenter is Mrs. Marie Sharp, who is no stranger to most Belizeans. And we can all certainly say that there is a Marie Sharp pepper sauce in our house. I know there are pepper sauces from Marie Sharp in my house all the time. While Ms. Sharp was working for the citrus company by day, she spent her evenings and weekends experimenting with various vegetable combinations to make hot sauces that she gave to her family and friends. In 1981, she began to manufacture pepper sauces under the name Melinda's after the farm owned by her husband's family. In 1988, with the help of the Belize Chamber of Commerce and Industry and USAID, she attended Clemson University to study food packaging. Later in 2000, the government of Belize facilitated her completing a course on food processing in Honduras at Zamorano Pan American Agricultural School. She has also done numerous courses in business management, marketing, and manufacturing practices. In 2013, her entries at the Anuga Food Fair in Cologne made the prestigious Taste 13 showcase round, and Mrs. Sharp's sauce placed in the top 3. In 2014, she was honored by Belize Special Envoy for Women and Children as a woman trailblazer, and that she truly is. Marie Sharp was inducted into the New York Hall of Fame for pepper sauce in April 2016 and was the only woman among other inductees to have been selected for this award. Today, Marie Sharp is a well-known Belizean legend, entrepreneur, and owner of Marie Sharp Fine Foods Limited, with its factory located on the Melinda Estate Farm in the Stan Creek Valley of Belize. She is an icon for all Belizean women, exemplary of the drive needed to achieve economic empowerment in today's world. Marie Sharp is the Belizean Queen of Peppers. Our other presenter is no other than Dr. Dionne Chamberlain Miranda. Dr. Miranda is a published author of 5 books in a leadership series. She is the managing director and partner at Chamberlain Consulting Limited and has been trading her books worldwide via Amazon and her company's services locally, regionally, and globally. She believes that to whom much is given, much is expected, and her firm operates on a social entrepreneurship basis. For every paid job, a complimentary service is provided. She holds a PhD in business administration and a master's degree in global management and has completed a number of specialized training programs, including leadership at the Center for Applied Science in Geneva, Switzerland. She believes that if you can dream it, you can achieve it, but only if you take action. Welcome to all our presenters. We will now jump into our first presentation by Ms. McDougall, but first I'll play a short video on the SheTrades initiative.
We can't hear the sound.
I run my own Shea business and I need a platform to help me make it grow. That's where SheTrades.com comes in. As a seller, not only can I sell my products, but I can find services and products on SheTrades.com. I can develop my skills through the SheTrades virtual learning, and the SheTrades news, success stories and videos are so inspiring. Buyers and investors can also use the SheTrades platform to source services and products from women entrepreneurs like me. And there's the verifiers, supporting women entrepreneurs such as chambers of commerce, business support organizations, and SheTrades partner institutions who can verify sellers, giving us a stamp of approval displayed on our profile to give us more credibility. All users can also commit to one or all of the 7 global actions to continue empowering women entrepreneurs together. SheTrades.com is all about expanding your knowledge and your market to help your business reach new heights. Register on SheTrades.com today and get the free mobile app available on Android and iOS.
Okay, so that was just an introduction, a brief introduction to the SheTrades program. And now we will have the presentation from Ms. Pippa McDougall.
Thank you very much, Shahir, for that warm introduction. First off, thank you for having me, and thanks for everyone who's tuned into this Coffee and Confessions. I think it's such a great idea, and I'm very honored to be here. So I'll just wait for Shahira. I think someone on your end will be sharing my presentation on their screen. And once they do, we can get going. Perfect. Great. So as Shahir mentioned, my name is Pippa McDougall. I work at the SheTrades initiative, which is based in Geneva, Switzerland. I'm happy to provide first an overview of the SheTrades initiative, and then some of the SheTrades tools that women-owned businesses in Belize can benefit from today. And then I'll also talk about some exciting events coming up that we would also like to invite you and your network to, which is SheTrades Global. So first off, what is SheTrades? SheTrades is the flagship initiative of the International Trade Center, and we're fully dedicated to supporting women-owned businesses to trade. But first, by background, ITC is a joint agency of both the United Nations as well as the World Trade Organization. And similar to BELTRAIDE, we have a mandate to support MSMEs to trade. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, I don't see the next slide, but SheTrades was established in 2015 and has the overarching goal of connecting 3 million women entrepreneurs to markets by 2021. And we really established SheTrades because, as Shahira mentioned, women-led enterprises are still highly underrepresented in trade, not only in Belize, not only in Switzerland, where I'm based, not only in Canada, where I'm from, but women-led enterprises are really underrepresented in trade around the world. And we've conducted studies that show us just how dire the situation is. And our own data tells us that only 1 out of every 5 export businesses is either managed, owned, or led by a woman. So this is 20%, quite low. And this is why we've, together with our partners, have created the SheTrades initiative, which is based on 7 global areas of action that we know if we work on will really help to create an enabling market, an enabling environment for women entrepreneurs, and also unlock markets for women entrepreneurs and women-owned businesses. So we do this through various methods. So first is we do a lot of support globally on advocacy. We also work in country through projects and national hubs, and of course through partnerships, both the private sector as well as with business support organizations like BELTRAIDE. And we work through various means as well. So with governments working on the policy front, so ensuring that trade policies are gender responsive, but a lot of our interventions are also working directly with women-owned businesses to increase their capacity and increase their market access. One thing I'll also say before we move on to the next slide is that SheTrades is supported by a global digital platform called SheTrades.com. And this enables women from all over the world that are part of the SheTrades network to connect with one another. As you heard in the video, you can showcase your goods and services, but it's also how you can access our virtual learning space, where we have a range of more than 50 plus virtual learning space modules on everything you need to know about international trade. So I'll go through later in my presentation exactly what that looks like and some of the courses that you could benefit from today. Next slide, please. Perfect. So to give you just a quick sense of our scale and impact so far, I'll just provide a few headline figures. So since 2015, we've supported women to attend and benefit from numerous business generation activities. We've helped women collectively generate over $140 million worth of trade opportunities. SheTrades has supported 30,000 women-led businesses directly. So this is through market access, capacity building activities, or also in-person workshops or online webinars. It also includes trade fairs, e-learning courses, etc. And currently, we're present on the ground in 25 different countries. And throughout these countries, we provide technical expertise in facilitating trade and improving the competitiveness of women-owned businesses. Now you're probably asking, is Belize one of those countries? Not yet, but we hope so in the future. And we're actually in discussions to see if we can bring a national SheTrades hub to Belize, or perhaps a regional hub to the Caribbean, so we can provide more of that comprehensive support. But not to worry, we still have a range of opportunities that women-owned businesses from Belize can benefit from today. Next slide, please. Perfect. So I also just, to give you a sense of some of the work we do on the global trade agenda, we not only work with women-owned businesses, we also work with a range of stakeholders on influencing the global trade agenda to ensure that governments everywhere are enacting trade policies that are inclusive, fair, and gender responsive. So just to give you an example of what some of this looks like, in 2017, ITC co-led and spearheaded what's called the Buenos Aires Declaration on Women in Trade. And this has committed over 100 WTO member states to increase their focus on trade policy. And I'm really happy to say that even over the 3 years that I've been with ITC, we can see that there's so much renewed focus on gender and women in trade. We're seeing it's almost like the flavor of the day. All of a sudden, governments are waking up from around the world and really committing resources and putting an emphasis on women in trade and women's economic empowerment. So this is really exciting and a really positive development. I've also shared just a few other examples of how we work on the global arena through partnerships in different key networks. But I want to draw your attention to the picture on the top right-hand corner. This was taken from our annual flagship event, SheTrades Global. This was taken in 2019 in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And SheTrades Global is our annual event where we bring together many of the women-owned businesses within our network. We bring together our partners, and it's an opportunity to network, but also to take stock of lessons, see where we are, see where we need to go, and really accelerate progress. There's also a business generation component of the event. So in addition, there's networking meetings and buyer-to-buyer meetings as well. And I say this because we have our 8th edition of SheTrades Global coming up this year, which I'll talk about later in just a moment. But first, we could go to the next slide, and I can tell you about some of the partnerships that we have fostered. So partnerships for me is one of the most exciting aspects of the SheTrades initiative. It's really an opportunity to enrich the service offerings that we can provide to women-owned businesses. So just to give you an example, we've partnered with companies in the logistics sector like UPS, DHL, who's not on there, but DHL, Maersk, the world's largest shipping company, and they provide and leverage their technical expertise in logistics and share their knowledge with women-owned businesses within our network. So they've co-sponsored projects with us, but they've also co-delivered webinars, which are on shetrades.com that you can access today as well. You can see we've also partnered with companies in the financial sector. So we have Barclays Bank, Visa, Growfin, which is one of 40 impact investors, but also eBay and other e-commerce partners as well. So we'll just go to the next slide, please, which should be on the portfolio of projects. Here, perfect. So to give you a sense of where we are before we go into the tools and how you can benefit, we currently have, we're present in 25 countries through 12 active projects, and we have the largest presence in the MENA region, in sub-Saharan Africa, South and Southeast Asia, but we're also increasingly present in Latin America and the Caribbean. So just last year, we launched a SheTrades hub in Trinidad and Tobago. And again, we hope to bring one to Belize soon. In terms of the women that we work with within our network, it's really a wide range. We have projects focusing on rural women farmers in West Africa to supporting MSMEs, women-led MSMEs to larger women-led exporting firms. So again, we work with women across the range, regardless of their size. And the key elements really throughout all of our interventions is 1, developing the export competitiveness of women-owned businesses. 2 is increasing and creating market linkages. The third is working with business support organizations so that women-owned businesses can have more opportunities. And then the fourth, which is really key, is working on the policy front. So working with the government, with policymakers to create an enabling environment. So what does this mean? This means that there's less regulatory burden, so it's easier for women-owned businesses to trade. Next slide, please. So SheTrades Hubs is another modality of intervention where we work with countries and with organizations. You can see we're increasingly having a number of SheTrades Hubs, and it's really an opportunity to adapt all of our SheTrades tools, methodologies, partnerships, and bring it down and share that with an organization who can implement the activities and give it a local flavor. Because we're of the mind that for any of these interventions to be sustainable, it's worthwhile for organizations already present in the country, already familiar with the needs, with the specific needs of women-owned businesses in Belize to carry out some of this work. Next slide, please. So now I'd like to go to talk about the SheTrades platform and tools. So this is how you can benefit from today if you're a women-owned business, a women entrepreneur, or even just a partner interested in learning more about SheTrades. So by logging on to shetrades.com and registering an account, which is free of charge, you'll have access to our online platform, which currently has more than 30,000 women-led businesses registered. You'll be able to connect with one another through the platform. You'll be able to showcase your products and services. You'll be able to also stay up to date with all of the SheTrades news, success stories, our upcoming events, and most importantly, it holds our e-learning portal and has so much a wealth of resources and knowledge that that we would need to know in order to trade. So if you go to the next slide, I'll just give you a flavor of what that looks like. So I put together a snapshot of our virtual learning space, and these are just a few of more than 40 modules that we have, but you can see we have everything from building an export plan to managing your cash flow, to warehouse and logistics, to costing and pricing, to competitiveness. And this is just really a taste of some of the key themes that we work on with SheTrades and that you can access. So these modules are 1 hour in length. So they're really bite-sized, which you can take on your own time in any order. We also have longer 2-week SME Trade Academy courses if you want to go into more depth into certain topics. And if you go to the next slide, I'll just share with you a picture of what the webinars look like. So we hosted a webinar recently with Sidley Austin, who's one of the world's biggest law companies, and they gave a really great webinar on how do I negotiate contracts as a women-owned business, or how can I receive free legal advice. They've also given advice about how to protect your intellectual property rights. So this is just one example of a private sector partner that's sharing their knowledge and expertise with our network of women-owned businesses. And you can see, if you go, it could be hard to see, but on the left-hand corner, if you see where it says Learn, that's where that's where we hold all of the webinars, so you can view past webinars, and the recording is on there as well. So if any specific topic looks interesting to you, you can still access them. Thank you, and next slide. Great, so now I wanted to share this exciting opportunity with you, which is SheTrades Global. This year it's taking place in Dubai on the 17th, 18th, and 19th of October. This year, because of COVID, it's taking place in a hybrid format. So it's both in Dubai in person, but also online. So for those that can't travel, there's a really great online component, and we've invested a lot in a new platform which is kind of like virtual reality, so it makes it a lot more engaging and more interesting for those who are attending online. So what is SheTrades Global? It really is our premier global business event that connects women entrepreneurs with buyers, investors, and partners. So while there's a strong focus on business generation, it's also a unique opportunity to do business, to get inspired, to meet other women entrepreneurs, and forge lasting business partnerships. The COVID situation is obviously evolving, but we're taking all the precautionary risks that are identified by the UAE government, and we'll update that accordingly. Next slide, please. So SheTrades Global is, I mentioned it's taking place in October, but leading up to SheTrades Global, we also have a free 6-month capacity building program for women entrepreneurs. And I'll talk about that in just a moment, but I've shared the registration link for SheTrades Global Dubai. So we invite everyone who may want to attend, register, check it out. It's free of cost to register online and to attend online. Obviously, if you would like to attend in person, there would be financial implications as we are unable to sponsor flights or hotels. However, the Road to Global program is 6 months. It started in March. However, you can still join now. And it includes master classes, live webinars, as well as UN certified e-learning courses. So if you go to the next slide, I can show you just some of the examples. Yeah, so currently we're in May, and we're having, the theme of May is unlocking finances for your business. So we're currently rolling out an e-learning course on that. So it may not be too late to participate in that. So if this sounds of interest to you, you can register here. I've shared the links, and I'm sure we'll share the slide deck with you afterwards, so you can register on your own time. You can also register for both of these events on shetrades.com as well. And this 6-month virtual training course is comprised of webinars, panel discussions, and online courses. Perfect. So next slide, please. Great. So my last call to you is we would encourage you to join SheTrades. It's very easy. You just register as a women-owned business on shetrades.com. If you have any questions, you can send us an email at womenintrade@intrasend.org. And you can also follow us on Facebook, as well as on Twitter, ITC News, and Instagram, the International Trade Center. So thank you very much for your time and listening to me, and I'll hand the floor back over to you, Shahira. And I'm aware that we'll take questions at the end after everyone's presented. So if anyone has any questions, do post it in the chat box and we'll answer it at the end. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll now have a quick video on SheTrades Global, and then we'll go into the other presentation thereafter.
This quick tutorial on how to register to the Road to SheTrades Global and use this platform. On this page, you can choose the language of your preference by toggling between English, Arabic, Spanish, and French. Then you need to register for the event by clicking on this button. Here, you need to enter your details such as your first name, last name, email address, password, and confirm your password. Please make sure that your email address is manually filled, not auto-filled. There is no space before, after, or in your email, otherwise it would be invalid. You can proceed by uploading a profile image if you wish, ticking on this checkbox, and press on sign up. You need to enter more details here, such as your company name, your position, your country, the city you're based in, if you are a woman entrepreneur, business support organization, market partner, or other, which session or sessions you're most interested in attending, if you are registered on SheTrades.com, your language of preference, and your gender. Now, your registration is complete and you can enter the lobby. This is the lobby. Here, to enter a session, you need to press on auditorium. In this auditorium, you would have all the upcoming sessions that will take place here. If you wish to watch a session that you have missed, they are all available under archive here. You have the session, for example, of the 11th of March and 17th of March. The full recording is available here. You can also make sure that you can network with other participants either by tapping on the wall, live wall, or by clicking on networking and chatting with partners. You can search by users, for example. You can click here to chat. You can video call or send a message. To check the agenda, you can press here and you know what agenda you have and what upcoming meetings and program there is. If you wish to know the program, you have to press on this button. And every week before the event, you can press here and to understand better what is coming up. On this live wall, there is also the link to check the upcoming agenda. And there's also the link to register to SheTrades Global Dubai, the 3-day event that's taking place in Dubai and hybrid. Make sure to register if you wish to attend that event as well. Thank you.
Okay, so we just included additional information for everybody that are interested in SheTrades or SheTrades Global. I will now introduce our next presenter, Mrs. Marie Sharp. Mrs. Sharp, the floor is now yours.
Are you asking me to do more or less a history of Marie Sharp's and how we got to where we are?
Yes.
Okay, well, I guess everybody knows that Marie Sharp started in 1981. I worked for 3 years out of my kitchen at home. I had a full-time job as an executive secretary with the citrus company in Belize while I was doing this. And what I was doing was trying to make sure that my products would have been acceptable to the local market before I gave in my resignation and branched off. So that was why I stayed so long working out of my kitchen. When I did move down to the farm to my first factory, to where my factory site is today, it was only like a very small portion that my husband built me a small 30 by 45 building. I moved down there and I was still doing everything mostly by hand. My cooking was on stoves with huge burners. I had like about 6 pots going and I had like about 6 girls filling almost like just out of a filler that my husband made for me. It wasn't until in 1994 when I was contacted by the Japanese and who came to Belize actually and had my products here and liked them and came to visit me and said that they were interested in doing business with me. They wanted to take my products to Japan. And it wasn't until at that time that I then knew that I had to do an expansion, which we did. We did the expansion, And then after the expansion, then the Japanese started to say, well, you know, they can't buy from me unless I was HACCP certified. So then that was a next very difficult road, because we had to go and then spend some more money to really upgrade the factory that they had to make it beat the specifications for HACCP. And it took us like about 2 years before we were HACCP ready. And we started selling into Japan. Japan was my first international market. And we started selling to them. They are very, very difficult customers. You have to have very good products, perfect in every way, even from presentation, the boxes, the bottles, everything have to be just perfect. But I guess if you can meet their specifications, then it's like a feather in your cap that you are selling into Japan, because they are very difficult customers to live up to. We continued then after the Japanese, we continued working. We were always selling into the US. And once we got our HACCP certificate, we started moving more into the US. But the US market was a very difficult market. For the US, you needed a lot of money to get into supermarkets. So we always avoided the supermarkets. When we got in there, in the first instance, what we did was, we did only like the gourmet markets, the mom and pops, the ethnic markets, and we stayed away from the supermarkets because it was costing so much money to get in. I did not have that kind of money at that time. At that time, from the inception of Marie Sharps to all the years that I worked up until when I was starting to get into the US market, I was working with the local banks, the commercial banks, paying interest rates up to 15, 16%. So there was never ever everything that I was working for was going towards paying banks. So we then made a decision that we had to try and find an easier way of accessing financing. So then we approached the Social Security, and we got a loan through Social Security, where my interest rates went like about half of what I was paying to the business banks. After getting into Social Security, we had a much easier time. We started seeing more money staying behind, which we then started to put into marketing. And today, I must say that, you know, we are in the US really big time, and we're getting in there very, very good. Where, of course, it's costing us because the supermarkets are very costly. Apart from the US, and we have had then to face other difficulties like meeting FDA requirements. So we had to then go through studying FISMA. Then for other markets like the European markets, we needed IFS. So we had to then do the IFS certifications. And with all the certifications that we have today, the FISMA for FDA, the IFS for Europe, and HACCP, then we now know that we have all our markets open to us. And we have been lucky that we have had people that come to Belize, maybe as tourists, and get interested in products, and go back to their homes wherever, and contact us and become a distributor for Marie Sharps. Today, I must say that, you know, with all the difficulties that we have, getting all these certifications, because it's not easy and it's costly. We've had to do a lot of expansion in the factory to meet the certifications. And I must say that today we are in a position where we have our own lab that is able to do all our testings. We do microbe, we do viscosity, we do pH, we do all our own testing in-house. But of course, with the microbe, every year we have to do an outside one to compete with ours, to really show our certifiers that it's not just our microbe, but we have to get one done by Baha, to show them that that we are, what we are doing is correct. So it's a lot of problems and a lot of money to keep all the certifications and so on. But if you want to be in the markets, if you want to access markets, you have to have all the certifications necessary, because every country is going to ask you for your certifications and are going to test your products and make sure that you can give them a safe product. A safe product. And we even have in line, we had to put in line for IFS certification an X-ray machine. So all the products have to pass through the X-ray machine to show that they're 100% clean, safe. If there's any product passing through there that has any foreign object, it kicks out that bottle. So it's costly. But today we are in several markets. We are south of us. We are in Guatemala, Salvador, Honduras, Costa Rica. We are in USA. We're in Canada. We are in Germany, Switzerland, Holland. We are in Netherlands. We're in Iceland. We're even taking some heat into Iceland. We're in Japan, we're in Taiwan, we're in Singapore, we're in Lebanon, we're in South Africa. So we are spread all over. So we have a wide market, and we continue to grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sharp, for sharing. As indicated, we'll have question and answer session after all the presentation. I now take this opportunity to introduce our next presenter, Dr. Dionne Chamberlain Miranda, who will give us her trade story on navigating trade and services.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm always excited when I listen to Ms. Marie Sharp speak. I believe that she is a beacon for all of us women to understand that entrepreneurship is ours if we truly want it. And all we need to do is to have people who are going to support us in our lives in getting these things done. So I believe it's very important that we listen to the stories that she speaks. And I can tell you that 2 years ago, my family and I visited Japan, and the most exciting day, I believe, in Yokohama for us was when we were served Marie Sharp pepper sauce to eat on our sushi. So bravo, Ms. Sharp. We really were excited for that moment. And that's all we live for now, is going around the world and seeing your product. So I'm looking forward to after COVID for us to enjoy that. Thank you to BELTRAIDE for inviting us to be here. Our company is known as Chamberlain Consulting, and we are a full-service bilingual consulting firm operating in Belize, the Caribbean region. We've done work in the US, and we're now exporting to even Tanzania. So we're very excited to know that you can not only transport or export products, but you can actually export your services. And we also do international representation for our clients locally and abroad. And so before we got into all of that, I really wanted to share that a lot of us don't understand trade and services and understanding how to export, but I want you to know that there are 4 different ways that you can do that. The first is cross-border supply, and we have been delivering training across the Caribbean and around the world virtually, and that's the way we do that. In terms of consumption abroad, we are currently working with a Tanzanian firm, a few American firms, a Mexican firm, on their particular needs and requests, and sending their documents to them in the countries that they're looking for. So there are many ways that you can trade by doing your work in country and sending your work abroad when it comes to services. In terms of movement of natural persons, we also are able to travel to different countries and deliver on our training, delivering on our trade missions, delivering on the different areas that we do, and that is mode 4. Now, commercial presence is the only area that we have not gotten into yet, which is setting up a storefront in another country. But I believe, like Ms. Sharp, we partner, we network. We don't need to own a branch or a store in these areas, because sometimes this is where cost goes up. And so it becomes very, very difficult for you to be able to manufacture or set up a storefront. However, we partner with other agencies and ensure that our brand is there. So we have also partnered with an international consulting firm known as MTI, and they are in 120 countries worldwide. So our logo is on their website, and our services are available to whichever countries that they actually serve. And so that is how we export our services. I want you all to be very aware that we play a very serious role. The service industry plays a very serious role in the product industry. So say, for instance, Ms. Marie Sharp, she hires firms like ours for research and development, software design, her labeling, different areas that she needs to have in place, and also for helping in shipping and brokerage and all of these different areas. So I want you to understand that the export aspect merges so well with the service industry. So you don't necessarily have to have something on a shelf to deliver, but you can support those that have something on a shelf. So our company does communication, visibility, marketing, branding, and all of that. And so, yes, we are able to support local and international firms in doing that as well. We have the expertise in country. We share and network with expertise around the world, and that is how you can deliver services in trade. Now, I'm excited because today BELTRAIDE has asked me on this journey to speak about my journey. How did I become an entrepreneur? And I realized that I am an entrepreneur from when I was a child. And I never knew this until when I'm asked to go backward. When I was little, my mother was a single disabled mother, and she had to sell meringue pie, pizza to be able to feed our family. And so I was her salesperson. And so I started to trade at that level. And you may say that I wasn't exporting, but I was, because I sold to foreigners. I sold to people who are going away. I sold to people who are consuming it locally. I sold all over. And so it's very important for us to understand that once foreign revenue comes in for the use of your service, that is exporting automatically. And so I believe that that is where it starts. And then the first time I worked on going internationally was when I was asked locally in Belize to deliver at an insurance session that they were having for CARIFA, which is the Caribbean Association for Regional Insurance and Financial Association. And I then spoke for the very first time to the entire Caribbean region, their sponsors from out of the United States, and of course, some from the United Kingdom. And at that local session where I spoke, and I brought in foreign exchange because obviously I was being paid by the international planners of this, I then decided and moved on my speaking career, because I met a wonderful person then from Trinidad and someone from the United States known as, so Judy from Grenada and Trinidad, I call her Jamaican because she's all mixed up in the Caribbean, But Consuelo Kickbush, who is a US retired Army surgeon, and she's told me, she says, you have great talent and I want to invest in you. So again, one of the things I want you to remember that there are mentors out there and there are people who are willing to engage with you. And if you're looking at the service sector or presenting yourself in the type of business that I do, it is best for you to partner with the best. And Consuelo Kickbush is a self-made millionaire who goes around speaking on gender-based violence, on violence within homes, with rape and all of that, because she was a victim who is now a victor. So I'm very proud to be associated with her, but she saw in me someone that she decided that needed training and needed upskilling. And so she invited me to come to Las Vegas where she lives, and she trained 20 women who she thought had potential in being able to deliver at this level and be able to start their own businesses and launch that off. So again, this is something that I want for us to take off very seriously, is listen to some of the people who come into your life and guide you and direct you and share with you their ideas. My life experience has created my capacity to do the different things I've done. I started off my journey in tourism just as a front desk operator for Fort Street Guest House. But then I moved into the level where I became friends with Lucy Fleming, who is the owner of the lodge at Chaw Creek. And then she exposed me to the Belize Tourism Industry Association and the need to network and need to become involved in your local community, the need to advocate, the need to share what you've learned. And so I became the president of the Belize Tourism Industry Association, and then moved on to being the president of the Federation of Central American Chambers of Tourism, who then exposed me even further into understanding that I needed to become bilingual and speak Spanish so that I could then branch out into the rest of the Central American region. So I want for you to realize that your life experiences, every single day, everything that you walk up to, it is not an accident. It is absolutely the way that you move from one stage to the next, learning what you need to do and pivoting and deciding how it is that you're going to be exporting or delivering on your business. Now, the most important journey that aspect that I want to share with you is networking is key, but integrity is even more important. People don't know you for what you have or what you do. They know you for who you are and how you make them feel. So your integrity and how you present yourself is very, very important. And I love Marie Sharp's story because she speaks of how a business colleague violated their relationship and affected her business greatly, but how she overcame that. And I want you to know that I remember her story every day from when I heard it. I would go 20 years ago, because I also realized that although I want to become networked and I want to become a part of everything, I have to be careful. I've now had people calling me from out of the United States, and they want to buy my my training package that I've engineered on my own. But like Mary Sharp has taught us, we have to understand the need for IP, registering your intellectual property and all of those things, because that's very important. But I want you to understand that even on a local perspective, I want you to pay attention to your local newspaper. I can tell you that several years ago, I read an article in the Amandala newspaper asking for a Services Go Global training. A person wanted to be trained for free. They would fly them into the Caribbean, and that the European Union, Germany, and Caribbean Export wanted to train a group of people across the Caribbean to help their fellow Caribbean persons be able to trade internationally. I answered the call, and that is how I became an expert trainer within the Services Go Global aspect in helping others to export. Now, like I said, I had already been exporting, but then I now understood and learned how to do it properly. And I'm going to share that with you in a little while. But I want you to know that some of you who are still in jobs, the reason why I really and honestly decided to become a full-time entrepreneur, because I was doing it part-time, was because I was working in environments where I was stifled and I was bullied, and I did not feel that I was able to contribute in the way that I should, because I had a lot of capacity, I had a lot of talent. But you work within places where people don't want to see you grow. And this is sometimes where you need to branch out and move out. So I'm asking you, my journey includes finding amazing mentors, people who cared about me, who wanted to see me grow and develop, and had amazing people who also recommended and referred me because of my networking and my integrity, not because of what I knew, because I learned a lot by Googling, by understanding that you may not have everything to be able to do within your business, but you can grow, expand, deliver on your service business by Googling or using Bing or whatever it is that you're using so that you can learn more. So my journey includes all of that, but it includes being humble and honoring my mother and realizing that I'm a manifestation of God who has provided this journey for me on this earth. The fact that I have every single culture within me. I'm Black, I'm Mayan, I'm everything that there is, and I walk and I trail in the breath of my ancestors, and I will always do and give my best for everything. And it also means that I have to give back, which is why now I am the chairman of the Belize Coalition of Service Providers, because I believe that to whom much is given, much is expected. And so the same way that I've been given all of this, some of you may not be able to access all that I have. And some may say by luck or by serendipity, but I say that the universe conspires on a daily basis in my favor and has put amazing people like Marie Sharp in my trajectory from when I was younger and I visited her farm the very first time, and she showed me how she was working with her pots and all of that, and showed me how she could scale up to becoming HACCP certified, FDA certified, and be able to export. So remember, don't take these opportunities that you get as class trips. Take them as opportunities to grow, to absorb, to pivot, to take yourself to the next level. But one of the important things that's also there that I realize is that if you want to go global and you want to trade internationally, globally, regionally, you have to realize that you have to become a part of a community. And my community right now is the other coalition of service providers, is the Caribbean Export, is BELTRAIDE, is every other aspect where I understand that I will only be a commodity until I decide to become a part of a community, because the community supports you, a community recommends you, a community partners with you, a community supports and helps guide you on track. And I want you to know that I take this seriously, because one of the first most important international jobs that I ever got for the biggest investor ever came from a recommendation from BELTRAIDE, where I became the local liaison and PR person for Leonardo DiCaprio and the Blackador group of companies. So I take networking and this community that we build very seriously, because I will always be grateful to BELTRAIDE, and I will always recommend them, and I know that they will always recommend me, because I am not a commodity for them and neither are they for me. We have built a community together where we will help each other to grow and develop. And that's one of the most important things to understand. So what is my advice for women in trade? Necessity is the mother of invention, and entrepreneurship is the father. If you are not willing to take risks, don't get involved in it. I can tell you though, that I was told when I first joined my first entrepreneurship session that I was risk averse and I should not be an entrepreneur. And I can tell you, don't take everybody's advice literally. Listen to your heart, listen to your soul, listen to your body, and speak to others. Speak to those who are in the business. Marie Sharp is available. She'll talk to any of you. Listen to those who are in business, not only the academic, people who have done it, have cried tears, have had sleepless nights, have had backaches, have been stressed out because they can't pay their bank loans. People who know the business of being in business and trading, not only the academics, because they don't know what you go through on a daily basis running your business. So I ask us as women, learn to support each other. Women are not that decent and that great to each other sometimes. We tear down each other, and that is not the role and the direction that we need to. We need to drive each other, help each other grow. Share your screw-ups. I love the fact that Marie Sharp never stops in telling us how she was violated by another colleague. We have to understand that. Don't be ashamed of what's happened in your life. These are the things that drive you forward. I'm not proud of my failures, but I am proud that I was able to get up and move on. I've told many of you before, I am a victim of abuse by a family member. However, I'm not that person. That was an incident that occurred in my life. My situations do not determine my destination. I ask you, formalize your business, pay your taxes. You want to know why that's important? The first time I bid for an international contract, they asked me for my business corporation papers. They asked me for my papers of good standing from GST. They asked me for my Social Security Board forms that I pay Social Security for my team members. And they also asked me for the information about my academic and the background and all of that stuff. And also they wanted 3 years of my financials. And I can tell you, the only way I was able to get that contract was because I was able to produce that data. Don't stay in the background. Don't say nobody needs to know. You can't play in the big space if you want to shy down and create a business in the Black and gray economy. Get out there and become a formalized part of your country and commit and deliver. And then we won't have social problems where we can't pay teachers' salaries, because you will be committing by paying your just taxes. Give to Caesar what Caesar expects. Intellectual property, register your business. Definitely important. Register your copyright, all of that, because there will be somebody out there who will try to prey on you. Don't undersell your talent, even though it's COVID. On the service sector, I have people calling me up and saying, how much if it's one person and how much if it's one person? I'm not selling a product. I'm not selling a bottle of peppers. I'm selling a case. And that's what Marie Sharp sells. She can't sell one bottle at a time. If you're scaling up, scale up. Don't allow people to undermine your talent and undermine your prices because you are trying to get into business. Be relevant, be dynamic, uptool, upscale, retool, become innovative, add new things. If you notice, and I'm using it on a product perspective again, Marie Sharp started to do peppers that had in garlic because she knows that people like that. She started to adapt it to the Japanese palate. We have to ensure that we grow our businesses and we take it to another level. What I've done, I'm going hybrid, I'm going live, I'm doing virtual because every client wants something different. And although the very first day I did my first session live after COVID, I was nervous. The reality is that I then became World Health Organization certified for dealing with groups so that I could take care of my family and my team members. And we're all vaccinated because, again, working in this new global space requires that we're relevant and we're dynamic. Customer services are 24 hours a day. To trade globally, time zones don't matter. You have to answer the emails within an hour of receiving them or you lose the business. So mentorships, memberships, networking, representing yourself always with what I call HAIL, which is honesty, authenticity, integrity, and love. But remembering you've got to give back. As you give, you get. Every time I do a session like this, I will gain business in return. So I'm telling you, don't be afraid to give, and help others to grow, because your success is not determined on you. It is determined on others' growth. Prepare and export plans are important. Assess your readiness. Am I ready to export? Get ready to trade. Get ready to trade locally. And you don't need to be trading locally to be able to trade internationally. Just remember that. A lot of us say, well, I got to ramp up the business. On a product perspective, yes, it may be necessary, but it's not really. You know why? Because if you're creating a cream or a lotion right now, you can put it on Amazon. You can get a family friend to do your distribution in the United States for you. You don't necessarily have to be trading locally, whether it be product, whether it be service, to be able to export internationally. Understand that. And remember, labeling standards are important, and these are coming into effect. Learn your trade information so that you're doing the right thing, getting your certification, doing your testing, ensuring that you're doing business and not playing and dabbling. And that's even in your presence with your marketing, your social media space, and all of that. I don't do SWOT analysis anymore. I do STORE analysis matrix, because what is important is my strengths, my opportunities, my aspirations, and my results. I ask all of you, Look at your present, look at your future, your time frame, your internal, your external, and your scope. Do your SOAR analysis for yourself and your business. What's good in the past, move on. Good customer service is not give what others, what you expect for yourself. It's giving others what they want, which is why Miss Marie Sharp has been able to change flavors and brought up new designs to match the new palettes that we're having, because we're getting very sophisticated in the things we want to eat. So there is a roadmap for exporting services, and we're very excited in my other work at the coalition where we train others. But a lot of people engage and want to join training, but they never finish, they never deliver, they never get it to the very end. If you want to trade, don't take your business or what it is that you're doing as a play or as a dabbling. Take life seriously, participate seriously, deliver seriously. Always finish what you start, because you will become someone out in the atmosphere as knowing as someone who is not consistent, does not deliver all the time, and is not delivery focused. Remember, it doesn't matter if it's at your church, in your community, in your network, in your donations, in your sponsorships, whatever it is, give completely. But I'm asking you always right now, in terms of SheTrading, you can pivot or you can persist. But if you do not pivot, you do not grow, and you do not stay alive in today's climate where there's a pandemic, where there's a lot of unrest. If you persist doing the same things you were doing yesterday and never ever shifting, your businesses will perish. So my point to you today, and that is the point that I take for myself every day, if I'm not moving, I am dying. If I am not growing, I'm in a state of stop, and that is not any environment for someone who wants to trade. So remember, pivot or persist, grow or perish, that is your decision to make. And so as an entrepreneur and as someone pushing SheTrading and realizing that your value, because I want you to know, as a woman, there are so many opportunities right now. I do gender assessments for companies and for projects, and around the world, multinational organizations want to help women, and they want to help women who are interested in climate change. And there are opportunities for financing if you're into green economy. So pivot to be able to access all of the value that is out there for you and for your business. I want you to know that you are not too small to export. To succeed in international markets, you do not have to be a big firm. You just have to have big ideas, big dreams, and deliver big. Not playing around, but delivering big, because that's what it's all about. I'm sure that when Miss Marie Sharp was told, and she told me the story personally when I spoke to her, when they told her that she needed to deliver pallets of pepper, no longer could that big pot work on her 4-burner stove, right, Miss Marie? It meant you needed to go big. And that is where I want to, for all of us to understand. Everything you do in your life is your next step to your business growing or failing. Everything you do, your responsiveness, your lack of responsiveness, your participation, your involvement, your lack of involvement, your what comes out of your mouth, honesty, authenticity, integrity, and love in everything that you do, because this is business that we're talking about. This is trading we're talking about. This is not doing something that you feel like for the moment. It takes commitment. And so that is my journey, but it's not ending here. This is really just a beginning for me, because every day I launch a new product line because of what my customers are asking for. I ask you to contemplate the same. Do what the customers want, not only what you want to do, because your passion has to be delivering, has to be service, has to be honoring your country and making sure that Belize is looking great out there. And it only looks great if every one of us is represented as being great, not as being late, not as not contributing fully, not as not doing our work or partially doing our work. It is about being present, presente, and that is how we will gain the gifts of life. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Hi, everyone. We now go into our question and answer session. We've had some wonderful presentations. I'm sure people want to ask questions, so this is your opportunity. Also, if you want to, feel free to post your question in the chat as well. So is there any hands raised of anybody who wants to ask question? Have a question?
Good morning.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't know how to raise my hand, so I had to unmute to call attention. I have a quick question for Ms. Dionne. I've followed Ms. Dionne's career for many years, and she's someone I'm always fascinated with how she presents and how her success stories. But something I struggle with, I'm sorry I didn't introduce myself. I'm Megs, relative of Barefoot Services in Placentia. But something that I often struggle with is being a parent, dealing with COVID right now. There's homeschooling, cooking meals issue. I work in an office where it's not 9 to 5. She's right when she says entrepreneurship takes 16-hour days, 12-hour days, getting up at 4. I sometimes struggle with managing how to complete certain tasks. And an example is I attended an event with Miss Dionne maybe 2 weeks ago. She did a presentation, and there were some tasks that we were supposed to do. And it just so happened to be that week I had a major crisis. I felt so overwhelmed. I felt like giving up. I was so frustrated, and I didn't complete those tasks. So sometimes as an entrepreneur, we find it difficult to juggle all that's on the table, especially when we're small business. How is I would like to know what would be a better strategy for managing all these tasks. I think I attended a conference where Miss Dionne said she cooked meals for her family and she makes these breads, and I see her on social media and I'm like, how does she do that? And I struggle in that area, not necessarily the cooking part, but managing tasks and accomplishing them. And you're right when you say if someone emails now, they need a response now. And with having access to social media, being linked to your website, literally someone sends a message via the website, I respond quickly and I try to fulfill that quotation or whatever is needed. But I still struggle when I'm attending events like this and I'm at work and I still have homework or something that needs to be done. I just struggle with accomplishing and completing tasks like that. What tips would you have for me, Miss Dionne?
Okay, well, the very first thing that I say is that we have to learn how to say no to certain things. If you continue to say yes to everything, you will do a lot of things half-heartedly and unable to do it. And remember, there is no end date. You always have an ability to conclude or finish, but you have to prioritize what is absolutely important. I watch tourism entities, for instance, complain on television right now, saying that they're not getting business and everything. And I can give you an example that I tried to book a hotel in San Ignacio a month ago. And when they answered me back, I told them, I'm really sorry, but I'm already in my bed in my hotel room that I've already booked. Who answered me first, you know? I watch, right now we have a group of musicians coming from Connecticut who are got children and their families who are coming to Belize. And they struggle to find a hotel who could accommodate 50 of them. But it all came down to the fact that the responsiveness rates are really where we have to focus on. So we have to decide what can I do and what can't I do. So the priority list is absolutely important. However, in your priorities, you also have to decide how can I lighten my load. And yes, you mentioned the fact about cooking and all of that. And I can tell you that I know I'm going to be on this session, so lunch is already cooked. Breakfast was already served at 7:30. I mean, the reality is in life that we can do what we want to do because every one of us gets 24 hours a day. But we decide what is important to us and what is not important and what we don't want to do. So as human beings, if we say yes to everything, we will never complete everything that we have to do. But if we say yes to what matters and what we want to do, we will always commit in doing that. And there are different ways to get that done. So say, for instance, you had a document that you needed to finish. After everybody's off to bed, you can come back and try to get that done. But you can also create templates that makes it easy for you. If it's the cooking that's an issue, I pre-season and pre-package everything. Yesterday was my seasoning and packing day for chicken. I've seasoned some with tandoori, I've seasoned some with ricotta, I've seasoned some regularly. So I know that I've got Indian, I've got Belizean, I've got fried chicken, and I do all of prepping. Just like how restaurants and big chefs do it, you've got to learn how to prep. The minute Leanne asked me to do this presentation, I pulled together a very rough presentation, and then I came back to it slowly, maybe only 15 minutes a day until when it was actually due, so that I could send it to her on time. Like I said, you have to understand that jobs don't need to be done in one chunk. We have to learn that we can do it in pieces. However, a lot of us like to procrastinate to the very end, and then life does attack us. And then Murphy's Law attacks us, and everything comes into place. But remember that these are things that are part of our culture, where we arrive late and we say it's a Belizean thing. We don't live up to our promises and we say it's a cultural issue. And realistically, it is, because buses arrive late in Belize, taxi drivers don't show up on time for us, people come to your meetings late. But you have to start to set the premise of how business has to be done, because when you want to trade internationally, nobody's on your time any longer. Right now, I'm trading with Tanzania, and my contact out of Tanzania, he is 8 to 12 hours ahead of me. So I need to make sure that he gets stuff when he wakes up at 6 in the morning, he can start to work. We have to understand that it's about synergy. It's about me understanding you, you understanding me, and us melding together. And it's not an individual job that we're doing, whether it be service or product. And we have to work with others' timelines, but we cannot expect that life is an island. And so it takes work, it takes dedication, it takes seriousness. But I can tell you something, that nothing is more important than the made up mind of a human being. And I'll go back to Marie Sharp with this. She told me that when she decided she wanted to start doing peppers, she was packing it up on her veranda and her husband was getting upset with her. Do you remember that, Miss Marie? I mean, with all the stuff packing up there, and she wanted to trade and they told her it couldn't happen. And the reality is that all of the limitations are in our minds, and we create it and we perpetrate it and we allow others to tell us it's not possible. But everything is possible if you truly want it. But stop saying yes to everything, because yes is an answer that sometimes puts us in the position that we can't deliver on everything that we want to.
There's a question for Pippa. There's a question that says, if you do not own your own business, how can one sign up for the Dubai online webinar?
Yes, that's a great question. So the Road to Global, a 6-month program that's combined of webinars, e-learning courses, and masterclasses. You don't need to own your own business to sign up for that. I shared the links in the presentation, which I know will be circulated to you after. All you have to do is sign up via the link. If you don't own a business, you can still say you're a women entrepreneur, or click the group you're most relevant to. But I would definitely still encourage you, if that's of interest, to definitely sign up and register. Thank you.
There's another general question. The person says that great presentations, but is asking if there is a published guide or website where new entrepreneurs can have a list of deliverables needed to start up their business, contacts for guidance, funding sources, etc. Just trying to find some references. So if any of the presenters have any suggestion of to answer this question, feel free.
I believe I answered that from our perspective. I mean, like I said, I'm wearing 2 hats. So I'm going Coalition of Service Providers here right now. But we do have a Services Go Global training package, which we deliver throughout the Caribbean, because we are a part of a Caribbean coalition. And it has all of the different steps. It's a full roadmap. And I believe that I presented on that just now as I went through, and I will share with you that photo of that slide. That's very important. And we can, if you contact the Belize Coalition of Service Providers, it is on our website. And if you call us directly, we are able to help as well in sharing that information of which is necessary in Belize and all of the registration and all of that. But we also run programs regularly. And being a member of the organization also means that you get access to funding opportunities that are out there. And we share information that's coming from the region and globally in terms of financing, in terms of projects that are available, and we can support you in that way.
Pippa, is there anything to add on that question? The person was asking about websites, guides,
Yes.
funding sources.
Yeah, it's a very good question. We actually recently launched a guide last week or a couple of weeks ago on specifically how to raise funds for your business. So I have the link. I'll just drop it in the chat box here for everyone. So that's specific to fundraising and access to finance for small businesses. In terms of a comprehensive guide with the whole list, I don't think we have that in place. I know we have a lot of webinars with pieces of that information, but you do make a really good point that it'd be good to get all of that information in one document. Maybe that's a takeaway for us to work on, but I don't think all of that information is still in one document. And I would say a lot of the contacts for guidance would be very different depending on what sector you're in, depending on what country you're in. And so local resources would also be great to explore in that regard. So I'll pause there in case Mary or Dionne would like to add anything.
I will go ahead and share the Services Go Global training information if you'd like. For anybody who's interested, you can just write to me at chairman@bcsp.org.bz, and I'll share with you the package that we have. However, we prefer to present it to you because there's lots of layers in preparing yourself for business. But having a business plan and an export plan is very important.
Is there any other question from the audience? I know there's always a question that we get, and this would be specifically for Miss Marie. You went listing all the countries you're in, and sometimes there's this impression that, you know, once you meet certain requirements for one market, it's pretty easy to get into another. But based on all the list of export markets that you have been able to penetrate, can you just tell the audience, you know, how that has been getting into the various different markets?
The countries that we got into so far hasn't really been very easy. You have to meet the requirements of each country per se. They have each a list of requirements that the supplier has to meet, and it goes from testing the product all the way to different licenses and certifications in particular. Okay.
Is there any other question from the audience?
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Shahira, I just wanted to make a few comments, if I may.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead, we're hearing you.
I just wanted to make sure that you're hearing me. Yes, good morning. This is Margaret Ventura from the Directorate General for Foreign Trade. I just wanted to congratulate BELTRAIDE on hosting this very timely event to share information and increase knowledge for trade in Belize. Thank you very much, Ms. Marie, for being ever so willing to share your story, which serves as a very powerful lesson in starting from humble beginnings in your kitchen to becoming a household name, not only in Belize, but presenting a proud Belizean product globally. I can definitely bear testament to being one of those persons who started using Marie Sharp's pepper sauce before it actually hit the stores. Because I had a co-worker who was working along with you while you were working at the citrus company. And she used to bring me my weekly bottles of pepper sauce. So I have seen this business grow, and I'm so very proud as a Belizean to associate myself with this product. Thank you, Dionne, for showcasing the BCSP and the training opportunity for Services Go Global. I note that this is an initiative that was born out of Carib Exports program to support the private sector as part of the capacity building for the EPA, the Economic Partnership Agreement. And so it would be, I just want to encourage participants to take advantage of this opportunity. Pippa, it's good to see you again. I am so happy that you were able to join this very important coffee session today. And thank you for all that you shared. I am also encouraging participants to register for SheTrades. We had the first engagement a couple of weeks back, which was well received. And we would really hope that more entrepreneurs would take advantage of the free capacity building initiatives that were presented, the e-learning courses from 1 day to 2 weeks. I think it's all good for Belize, good for entrepreneurship, good for capacity building, and good for development of Belize's trade. I just wanted to congratulate you all and thank you.
Thank you
at this time,
for those kind words.
At this time, I'll ask if there are any other questions before we wrap up for today. Also like to signal that some information have been posted in the chat of resources based on some of the presentations today and questions that people have asked. So you can take an opportunity to look at the chat and see some of those resources that have been posted by the presenters. Okay, so if there are no other questions, BELTRAIDE takes this opportunity to thank the presenters for taking time out to share with us today during the webinar, this coffee and confession webinar. I am certain that all participants are taking something with them, whether it's a new tip, a new tool, a website to visit, a new contact to add to your contact list. I am sure that you're walking away with something today and that today's information has empowered you in some way. As everybody has indicated, there are immense opportunities that exist out there, but you know, we have to put in the work, we have to connect, we have to network, just using some of the tips that were shared with the presenters. All the presenters were amazing, and today was just your introduction to them. I am certain that you'll have other interaction to them, with them, sorry, after today. I see continued relationship and other discussions, perhaps over coffee or tea. Hope to see you all in the trade arena, and thanks to everyone once again. In terms of some of the presentations today, we'll do our best to share it. The recording as well will be made available. Thank you all. Thanks to Ms. McDougall, thanks to Mrs. Sharp, thanks to Dr. Chamberlain Miranda. I think they all did a great job in sharing with you guys today. And thank you for being a part of this session, and it's one in many to come from BELTRAIDE. Thank you.
Thank you.
Too. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, bye.